The National Eucharistic Congress is a significant event in the three-year revival initiated by the U.S. bishops to restore faith in the Eucharist among Catholics in the country. The Congress aims to bring together the entire Church in the United States with the goal of igniting the participants' faith, enabling them to become missionaries in their own communities.
How was that? Can you tell us a little bit more about this encounter?
Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau Chief, sat down with Bishop Andrew Cousins, Bishop of the Diocese of Crookston, to discuss the upcoming National Eucharistic Congress in the United States.
Bishop Andrew Cousins, you have just met the Holy Father blessing the monstrance for the National Eucharistic Congress, which will take place next year in the U.S. How was that? Can you tell us a little bit more about this encounter?
It was a very emotional experience for all of us. We had all the organizers of the Congress there. He just received us all so warmly, and you felt his emotion and his passion and his excitement for this National Eucharistic Congress. He spoke about it so beautifully. And especially, he's just out of the hospital, right? So for him to come and give us this address and to meet with us personally and to greet each of us personally, it was very, very moving.
Can you tell us a little bit more about this Congress? It's the 10th National Eucharistic Congress, but what I understand, it's really something new as well.
Yes, so the Congress is really the high point of the National Eucharistic Revival, which the U.S. bishops started as a pastoral evangelistic initiative to try to restore faith in the Eucharist throughout the Catholics of our country, because we know it's at an all-time low, right? And so the bishops have organized this three-year revival, and at its center is this National Eucharistic Congress, where we hope to gather the whole Church in the United States.
And can you share a little bit, what did the Holy Father say about adoration, about the Eucharist?
Yeah, the Holy Father gave us a beautiful address about the centrality of the Eucharist, and really he made kind of three special points where he went off script. The first was when he talked about adoration, and he said we've lost the sense of adoration in our culture today, and we need to teach people how to do adoration, especially adoration in silence, which is something we've been trying to do as part of the revival. The second thing he mentioned when he went off script was about the importance of going out. So how important it is to come to Mass, to receive Jesus, to do adoration. But then we have to take Jesus out to the world. And that's really the missionary impulse. And we know the Church in the United States needs to make that missionary conversion. We need to become missionaries. And the third thing he said was not to forget the poor. And he mentioned in particular the elderly and the sick. He said when you go out to find them, you find Jesus.
There have been surveys in the US, but also in other places in the world, that Catholics who claim to be Catholics say they no longer believe really in the real presence in the Eucharist.
You know, what I see is this is kind of the result of secularization in our country that we've seen in the United States and in other countries, right? And adopting a kind of completely secular mindset that allows us to seek happiness simply in the things of this world, which will never make us happy, right? And that secularization has led many people away from even that first commandment of honoring God above all things, which is what Sunday Mass is, right? The third commandment helps us keep the first commandment of honoring God above all things. And so we've seen that. We've also seen a kind of change in the worldview of the people in our world and in our time. And so people have a very kind of scientistic worldview. Of course, science is important and it teaches us about reality, but it doesn't tell us everything about reality. It doesn't tell us who created everything. And when the Bible talks about reality, it says the world is telling the glory of God. The whole world is a sacrament. Everything that exists points to the reason that it exists. And we've lost that sense. And so it's difficult for people to understand, how could this piece of bread actually be God? You might remember, though, when Notre Dame Cathedral burned in Paris, the Archbishop of Notre Dame, he said, we didn't build this beautiful cathedral for the crown of thorns or to contain beautiful works of art. We built this beautiful cathedral because we believe a piece of bread becomes God, and we built it for God, right?
What will the Congress do in order to help faithful also maybe rediscover the real presence in the Eucharist?
Yeah, the Congress is really the center point of a movement of the Eucharistic revival, where we're doing all kinds of things. So we had Eucharistic congresses, Eucharistic processions, all kinds of teaching on the Eucharist this whole last year, more than we've ever had in the United States. And then this parish year, we're going to have small groups in as many parishes as we can studying the Eucharist. We're going to increase Eucharistic devotion in those parishes, right? Inviting them to have a Eucharistic culture. And really to reach those people who maybe they do come to Mass sometimes, but they don't really understand Jesus in the Eucharist, right? And then the Congress will be this moment of unity where we all come together, where we're inspired by the best of Catholic speakers who will all be there, where we have these moments of beautiful prayer and Mass together, where we experience that revival, that word which means to bring back to life, right? To set on fire.
Bishop Andrew Cousins, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much, and we've been so proud to have EWTN as a partner in this work of the Eucharistic Congress from the beginning, so thank you.
Thank you.